Capricorn. What if the one who shattered you was also the only one who ever truly saw you? What if the love that once scorched your soul, the one you buried so deep you stopped speaking their name, suddenly reappeared, not as a memory, but as a heartbeat standing right in front of you? There are stories written in the stars long before we take our first breath. And yours, Capricorn, was never meant to be simple. You don't get handed soft love. You get the kind that tests you. The kind that breaks you open just to show you what you're made of. The kind you don't forget even when you've sworn it's over. But here's the twist no one told you. When love returns, it rarely comes alone. Sometimes, it comes with a shadow. An invisible force has been watching from the sidelines, waiting for the exact moment your heart begins to open again. A hidden enemy. Not someone loud or obvious, but calculated, precise, cold. They know exactly when your guard is down, exactly when to plant doubt, when to whisper the kind of lies that sound dangerously like truth. And just when you're trying to figure out if this forbidden love deserves a second chance, destiny throws you a curveball, a breakthrough, a win, a sudden, undeniable success that puts your name in a room where it was once erased. Three forces are converging now: love, deception, and divine timing. And Capricorn, you're standing at the center of it all. Do you feel it? The burn in your chest isn't just memory, it's activation. The universe doesn't play games, not with you. So if this love has returned, if this enemy has risen, and if this success has finally arrived, it means one thing: you are being tested. Not tested for punishment, but to prove that this time, you know how to protect your heart, your name, and your power. This is no ordinary story. This is your reckoning. So stay with me, because the fire you're about to walk through will either destroy you, or forge you into something the world never saw coming. Part 1: The flame reignites. Some fires never die. They simply wait for the right wind. Capricorn. It begins with something subtle. A message. A song. A familiar scent you haven't smelled in years. And before your mind can catch up, your body already knows. They're back. That person. The one you swore you'd never let near you again. The one who once lit a fire in your soul so intense, you had no choice but to run from it. But the truth, you never fully left them. Not spiritually, not energetically. You just buried them deep, sealed behind walls you built out of survival. And now here they are, returning like a storm that doesn't knock before entering. A storm that doesn't ask permission to unravel what you've rebuilt. You thought you'd be angry, you thought you'd be cold, but instead, you feel everything. It's not just attraction, it's recognition. It's that magnetic pull you can't explain to anyone. The kind of pull that says, "We've done this before, haven't we?" Capricorn, you are not someone who gives second chances easily. You don't romanticize the past. You calculate it. You remember every scar. You weigh every cost. And still, somehow, your heart doesn't run. It hesitates. And in that hesitation, the flame reignites. They look at you, and it's not the same as before. There's more silence this time. But it speaks louder than words ever could. Their presence shakes something loose in you. And suddenly, you're not sure who you are when they're around. Are you the person who walked away to protect yourself? Or the one who never stopped wanting to stay? This kind of love, the forbidden kind, it never really dies. It just waits. Waits for timing, for alignment, for readiness. But here's the catch. Readiness doesn't mean safety. Sometimes, being ready only means you're finally willing to face the fire, even if it burns again. And that's where you are, Capricorn. You're standing at the edge of something ancient. A karmic cycle that never truly closed. A love story that always felt unfinished. As if the universe kept the last page hidden. Until now. But while one part of you reaches toward them, there's another part that hesitates. And that part is wise. Because this flame may be beautiful, but it's also powerful. And all-powerful things carry risk. The question now isn't, do you still love them? You already know the answer. The real question is, can you love them without losing yourself again? Life lesson. Love, no matter how passionate, must never demand the sacrifice of self. If it returns, let it meet the new version of you, not the one who once broke trying to keep it alive. Part 2, that look in their eyes. Capricorn, it's never just about the return. It's about what returns with them. The gaze that once broke you open, and is now staring straight through your new armor. You tell yourself you're different now. Stronger. More guarded. You've learned the hard way not to let your emotions dictate your decisions. And yet, there it is again. That look. That undeniable, soul-level gaze that carries a weight no words can hold. As if their eyes remember something your mind has been trying to forget. It doesn't say, I miss you. It says, I still know you. Not the surface version of you, but the one underneath the strategy, the strength, the silence. And the most unsettling part, you still know them too. This isn't just nostalgia. This is memory made real. A familiar frequency buzzing between two people who never fully detached. A quiet code only the two of you can understand. No one else sees it the way you do. To the outside world, it's just eye contact. But to you, it's a floodgate. You feel your chest tighten, your pulse stutter, and your thoughts begin to wander into dangerous territory. The what ifs, the maybes, the possibilities that were once off limits. You search their face for signs. Have they changed? Is this a trap? Or is it redemption? Because that look is not just a spark. It's a mirror. It reflects back to you the parts you've hidden, the parts you've hardened, and maybe even the parts you still long to share. Capricorn, you're not a fool. You don't get swept up in romantic illusions like others might. But this is different. Because you're not seeing the person they used to be. You're seeing something evolved. Something familiar yet unfamiliar. And that combination is both comforting and terrifying. And here's the twist. Your body responds before your brain approves. That's how deep the connection runs. It bypasses logic. It enters through instinct. This kind of recognition doesn't happen twice in a lifetime. And when it does, you're forced to face the question you've avoided since they left. Did I walk away because they were wrong for me? Or because I was too afraid to be that vulnerable again? Capricorn, vulnerability for you is not softness. It's exposure. It's power in someone else's hands. And you've learned the cost of giving that power to the wrong person. But here they are again. And their eyes are asking a question you didn't prepare for. Are you still willing to be known? Because being seen is one thing. But being known, especially by someone who once hurt you, is an entirely different risk. You feel the tension rise inside you. Every part of you wants to stay still, grounded, guarded, and yet, you lean in. Not physically, spiritually. Something inside you leans toward what you once tried to forget. Capricorn, be honest. How long has it been since someone looked at you? Not as who you've become, but as who you really are beneath the accomplishments. The self-discipline, the guarded silence. That look in their eyes doesn't just ask for a second chance. It asks if you're still hiding. Are you? Because no success, no logic, no wall you build can fully protect you from a connection like this. And maybe you don't want it to. Life lesson. The deepest connections don't need to speak. They recognize. But recognition is not a contract. You get to choose whether to honor what you feel or protect what you've become. Part 3. The shadows start moving. Capricorn, when the light begins to stir in your life, whether it comes in the form of love, recognition, or a second chance, something else always awakens with it. The shadows. Not all threats announce themselves. Some move quietly, strategically. They don't break down doors, they slip through cracks. They wait in silence until you're open. Until you're warm again. Until your guard is finally, painfully, down. And that's when they begin to move. This hidden enemy isn't someone who simply dislikes you. No, they study you. They track you with the precision of someone who knows what you value most. Because that's exactly what they want to corrupt. They don't attack your strengths. They target your peace. They whisper into the ears of those close to you. They twist your words behind your back. They plant suggestions, not accusations. Their power is in subtlety, in their ability to wear masks that even your intuition can't always see through. They might look like a friend. They might sound like advice. They might even say they want what's best for you. But what they want is to see you hesitate, to see you question everything you're building, especially this love, this revival of something the world told you not to believe in. You'll begin to notice it. Small things, moments that feel off, people you trust beginning to look at you differently, not out of concern, but out of confusion. Because someone is already feeding them a different version of your story. A version where you're reckless for letting this person back in. Where your feelings are seen as weakness, not wisdom. Where your past is weaponized, not healed. Capricorn, this is the subtle sabotage. And it works best when you're emotionally exposed. When you're trying to follow your heart while protecting your foundation. You'll feel torn. Not because your instincts are wrong, but because someone wants you to feel wrong for even trusting them. Here's what makes this enemy so dangerous. They don't want to destroy just your relationship. They want to fracture your identity, to make you second-guess your own judgment, so that eventually, you stop reaching for what's meant for you. Their methods aren't violent. They're persuasive. And in many ways, they're effective. Because even you, Capricorn, with all your wisdom, can fall into the trap of overthinking. You start checking every word, replaying every conversation, looking for proof you're not being foolish. But that doubt, that second guessing, is exactly what they want. Because the moment you stop trusting yourself, they don't even have to win. You'll do it for them. Capricorn, your power has never been in how loudly you speak. It's in how silently you endure. But endurance without clarity turns into exhaustion. And in this moment, what you need most is clarity. Who is for you? And who only pretends to be? Look at patterns, not apologies. Look at timing, not titles. Ask yourself, who benefits if this love fails? Who thrives when you doubt? Because the shadows are moving. And if you don't name them soon, they'll shape your future without your permission. Life lesson. Your enemies don't always come to break you. Sometimes, they come to confuse you. Clarity is your shield, Capricorn. And trusting your inner knowing, no matter how subtle, is your greatest defense. Part 4, Desire versus Danger. Capricorn, desire is not your weakness. You've learned to master it, control it, even silence it when necessary. But this time, something's different. Because this isn't a fleeting impulse. This is a calling, a magnetic force rising from the center of your being, demanding to be felt, not analyzed, not explained, just felt. And that's what makes it so dangerous. When this person re-entered your life, they didn't knock, they didn't ask for permission. They arrived as if they were always meant to return. And part of you, the part that's been asleep, woke up the moment they did. It feels alive again. The laughter you buried, the softness you locked away, the spark in your eyes that only they could bring to the surface. But here's the cruel truth about desire, Capricorn. It never arrives without cost. And you, more than anyone, know the price of opening up. You know what it's like to invest everything. Time, energy, loyalty, even dignity, only to watch it all unravel when trust is broken. So you find yourself here, pulled in two directions. Desire on one side, danger on the other. And both are speaking your name. One says, let go. Feel it. You deserve this. The other says, remember. This is how the fall begins. You begin to question what's real. Is this passion genuine? Have they changed? Or are you being drawn back into a cycle that once broke you into pieces? Capricorn, your nature is to build, not chase. You want something that lasts, something that honors effort and time. But this love, This forbidden thing. It doesn't play by rules. It doesn't care for schedules or stability. It burns on its own terms. And yet, you crave it. Not because it's chaotic, but because somewhere inside, you remember who you were when you loved freely, before the armor, before the calculations, before the fear. But fear has its place too, doesn't it? Because while desire can ignite you, danger can undo everything you've worked so hard to protect. Your reputation, your emotional clarity, your future. This is where the real battle begins. Not with them, but within you. You're standing on a bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. And the fire of this connection is strong enough to melt the supports beneath your feet. So you ask yourself, can I allow myself to feel this? Without losing everything I've built? Can I trust what's burning? Without letting it burn me down? Capricorn, the truth is this. Some loves are meant to transform you, but not all are meant to stay. And the most powerful ones, the ones that haunt you, don't always arrive to be rekindled. Sometimes, they return, to reveal how much you've grown since the last time you collapsed. Now the choice is yours. Feed the fire, or protect the structure. Life lesson. Desire isn't wrong, but when it asks you to forget your worth, to risk your peace, or to rewrite your truth, that's when it becomes danger. Capricorn, passion without self-preservation is not love. It's surrender to a wound. Part 5, the return of power. Capricorn, while your heart wrestles with what could be, the universe begins to move in a different direction. Not toward romance, but toward recognition. Without warning, an opportunity arrives. One you didn't chase, one you didn't expect. And yet, it has your name written all over it. At first, it feels unreal. A promotion, a chance, an invitation. A door opens, one you thought was sealed shut. And this is no accident. Capricorn, the universe has always been a mirror for your discipline. While others dream, you build. While others wish, you work. And even when the world doesn't notice, you keep moving, trusting that what is earned in silence will one day echo loudly. Now, that echo has arrived. It's the project that puts your name in rooms you once only imagined. The message from someone in power. The moment when your silence is finally seen as strength, not secrecy. And suddenly, you are not the one being chased. You are the one being chosen. But here's the most important part, Capricorn. This success doesn't just bring reward. It brings clarity. Because when the spotlight finally touches your name, something inside you clicks. You remember who you are without attachment, without emotional fog, without the need to be understood by anyone but yourself. You stand taller, speak slower, feel calmer, and in that stillness, you see everything more clearly. The love that returned, still tempting, but no longer your center. The enemy in the shadows, still moving, but not as threatening as before. Because now, you're not chasing meaning through others. You're building meaning from within. This is your return to power. And perhaps the most ironic part, that power was never truly gone. It was just waiting. Waiting for you to remember that your worth isn't proven by who loves you, or by who tries to destroy you. It's proven by what you refuse to abandon even when no one's watching. Capricorn, success is not new to you. But this version, this moment, it's different. Because it isn't about status. It's about alignment. And from this new place of strength, you'll begin to see exactly what you couldn't see before. Who truly supports you, and who only stayed to monitor your struggle. This is your shift. The moment your life begins to separate, the people who can rise with you will feel closer than ever. The ones who can't will start to fall away. And the enemy who thought they had the advantage will soon realize they underestimated what you become when you remember who you are. Life lesson. True power doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It remembers. Capricorn, when you remember who you are, No shadow can stand in your light. Part 6. When love becomes a battlefield. Capricorn, not every war happens in public. Some of the most brutal ones take place inside the quiet of your own mind. You've tasted success. You've reconnected with love. And yet, instead of peace, you feel the air thick with pressure. Not because something's wrong, but because everything feels too right, too fast. This is when love turns from comfort into combat. Not because it wants to hurt you, but because it forces you to face the parts of yourself you buried in order to survive. You begin to ask dangerous questions. Am I strong enough to hold this? Can I trust this again? What if I lose myself in them, like last time? And just as you're struggling with those doubts, they do something so human, so vulnerable, that it fractures your armor. Maybe it's a story from their past. Maybe it's a confession they never had the courage to share before. Whatever it is, it lands in the softest part of you, the part you tried to harden. Suddenly, your heart is no longer neutral territory. It's a battlefield. On one side is your logic, your memory, the pages of the past where you wrote down every time they failed you. On the other side is your longing, the part that still believes, the part that dares to hope that maybe this time, it could be different. But there's another player on the field now, the hidden enemy. And they don't attack with swords. They attack with silence. They let you self-destruct. They create circumstances where trust feels unsafe. Even when the love is real, they stir confusion not with lies, but with doubt. Capricorn, your strength is unmatched. But your weakness has always been the idea that you must face everything alone. And that is what love, especially this kind, challenges most in you. Because love doesn't want your perfection. It wants your truth. And your truth is this. You are terrified. Terrified of losing yourself. Terrified of being seen and not chosen. Terrified that no matter how much you grow, you might still be unworthy of softness. But this is the exact terrain where love, real love, must be tested. Not in moments of harmony, but in moments of internal war. Because when you can love through uncertainty, when you can stay open while shaking, when you can be afraid and still choose connection, that's when love transforms from desire into destiny. But be warned, Capricorn, if you deny your fear, it will control you. If you pretend you don't feel torn, your actions will contradict your words, and the hidden enemy will see every crack in your armor as an invitation to attack. So what do? You name the war. You stop pretending you're not in the middle of it. You speak what feels risky. You allow vulnerability to become your weapon, not your weakness. Because in this battlefield, your silence can cost you everything. But your honesty, it could be the thing that saves not only the relationship, but yourself. Life lesson. The strongest love doesn't come from being fearless. It comes from loving in full awareness of the risk, and still showing up with truth. Capricorn, your power lies not in hiding the war, but in facing it with your heart wide open. Part 7. The enemy exposed. Capricorn, every shadow eventually meets the sun. And in your story, the enemy who once moved in silence is about to make a sound they can't take back. At first, it's subtle. A slip in their tone. A comment that doesn't match what they said before. A strange look exchanged between them and someone you trusted. You notice it. Not because you're paranoid, but because your instincts are sharpened by experience. You've seen manipulation before. You've lived through betrayal. And this time, you refuse to be caught off guard. The enemy, once comfortable in the dark, is growing impatient. They see the connection growing between you and the one who returned. They see your success blooming, despite their efforts. And worst of all, they see that their whispers are no longer echoing in your mind the way they once did. So they push harder. They may try to twist the narrative, make themselves the victim, play the concerned friend or the wounded bystander. They'll bring up moments from the past, try to reframe your memories, cast doubt on what you know in your bones to be true. But what they don't realize is this: Capricorn is never louder than when they're silent. And your silence now isn't confusion, it's calculation. You're not reacting emotionally, you're observing, tracking patterns, gathering evidence. And soon, you'll have enough. The moment comes when they push too far. Maybe they say the wrong thing to the wrong person. Maybe they reveal an obsession they once hid under concern. Maybe they get sloppy, and in their desperation, they expose themselves fully. You'll see it clearly then. Not just what they did, but why they did it. The envy, the fear, the powerlessness they tried to mask with control. And suddenly, the spell breaks. What once felt like confusion becomes crystal clarity. What once felt like friendship now feels like poison. And the most dangerous part? You realize they never wanted your downfall. They wanted your identity, your light, your voice, your presence. And when they couldn't replicate it, they tried to dismantle it. Capricorn, here's what they didn't count on: that you would evolve, that you would rise without needing to respond, that your growth would be so rooted in truth that no lie could pull you from it. Now, the enemy is exposed. But exposure isn't the end. It's the test. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you seek revenge? Will you confront? Will you walk away? This is where your integrity becomes your weapon. Because when you respond with dignity, when you don't let them drag you into their chaos, you rob them of their last illusion, that they still had power over your peace. Life lesson: the most powerful response to betrayal is not destruction, but clarity. Capricorn, when you no longer need to prove yourself, the truth rises on its own. And sometimes, silence is the loudest form of justice. Part 8: The choice that changes everything. Capricorn, there are moments in life that don't announce themselves. But when they arrive, you know nothing will ever be the same again. You're standing at the edge now. Not of failure, not of loss, but of decision. This is the moment the universe has been guiding you toward from the beginning. Everything, the love, the enemy, the success, has led to this exact intersection. And now, you must choose. Do you reach for the flame that once scorched you? The one that now glows with new potential, but still carries the scent of old fire? Or do you walk away from it all? From the passion, the danger, the chaos, to preserve the structure of your hard-earned peace? This isn't just a romantic decision. This is spiritual architecture. You're not choosing between people. You're choosing between versions of yourself. The version who loves at all costs, and the version who guards what was built in silence and sweat. You feel the weight of it in your chest. The pull in both directions. One hand reaching toward what feels destined, the other gripping tightly to what you've already secured. And both are right. That's the unbearable truth. There is no clear wrong in front of you, only a path that demands courage. Whichever one you take. Because love, even reborn, comes with risk. And silence, even sacred, can turn into isolation if left too long. Capricorn, this isn't about fear anymore. It's about alignment. Does this connection fit who you've become? Can it live inside the life you've built? Or will it always ask you to bend until you break? There's a voice inside you now, steady, quiet, ancient. It doesn't yell. It simply says, you already know. Not the emotional part of you. Not the wounded part. But the part that's been here before. The part that survived the collapse. The part that rebuilt you from dust when no one else showed up. That part of you knows the answer. It always has. But Capricorn, knowing isn't enough. You must act. You must choose. Because indecision is where destiny dies. Hesitation is the space where enemies strike. And the longer you wait, the more power you give to everything outside of you. So what will it be? Do you lean into the fire and risk being burned again? But maybe, just maybe, discover that this time, you're fireproof? Or do you walk away with your peace intact? And wonder for years whether you walked away from the one thing that could have made you feel alive again. This is the choice that shapes not just the next few months, but the next version of your life. And the cost of clarity is always action. Life lesson. The most important decisions in life won't come with certainty. They come with alignment. Capricorn, your power is not in always choosing right, but in choosing from a place so honest that even if it breaks you, it will still grow you. Part 9. A love reborn, a destiny fulfilled. Capricorn, something has shifted, and for the first time in a long time, you feel it. Not just in your heart, but in your body, in the way your soul settles. The storm has quieted, the noise has thinned, and what remains is clarity. This love that once overwhelmed you, once burned through your defenses, once cost you more than you could admit, now stands before you not as chaos, but as choice. And that changes everything. Because now you're no longer clinging, you're no longer craving, you're no longer asking to be seen. You are seen, you are heard, you are whole. Even as you open your heart again, what once felt forbidden now feels sacred. What once felt like a karmic loop now feels like a conscious pact. They look at you differently now, not with desperation, but with deep respect. As if they've finally recognized the storm you carried alone, the mountain you climbed in silence, the evolution you achieved when no one was watching. And you see them not as the one who left, but as the one who returned, and had to grow in their own shadows to do so. Together now, it doesn't feel like fire and water. It feels like balance. Two souls meeting not in brokenness, but in readiness. You talk differently, slower, with more intention. You're not trying to convince each other. You're not performing. You're present. This love, if it continues, will not look like the past, because you've changed the story. You've rewritten the roles. Now you lead from truth, not fear. Now you speak from wisdom, not pain. Now you give from overflow, not lack. And that, Capricorn, is the fulfillment of destiny. Because destiny isn't some map handed to you by the stars. It's not the person the universe brings back. It's what you choose to do when they return. It's how you show up, how you hold your power, how you love without erasing yourself, and how you allow space for them to love you. Not just for your strength, but also for your softness. Now, everything feels possible. Not because you escaped pain, but because you faced it, and stayed open anyway. This is what makes Mark KT different. You don't fall, you transform. And when you do, everything around you rises to meet your new frequency, including the love you once thought was lost forever. Life lesson. The greatest love stories aren't those that begin perfectly, but those that survive the fires, return with truth, and rise from choice. Capricorn, you didn't just wait for love to return. You became the person worthy of holding it when it did. Part 10. The Sacred Fire and the Final Freedom. Capricorn, you've walked through fire. Not once, not twice, but again and again until the fire no longer frightened you. Until it became sacred. That flame inside you, once wild and untamed, now burns with purpose. Not to destroy, but to illuminate. You have reclaimed your power, not by overpowering others, but by outlasting everything that tried to break you. The forbidden love that returned, it came back not to complete you, but to reflect how far you've come. The enemy who hid in shadows, they lost their grip the moment you stopped needing approval. The moment you trusted your own voice more than the noise around you. And the success that arrived suddenly, it was never luck. It was recognition. It was the echo of every decision you made when no one else believed in you. Now you stand at a threshold. Not to prove anything, not to earn anything, but to own what is already yours. Your voice, your strength, your softness, your story. Capricorn, people talk about destiny like it's something written in stone. But you know better. You've lived it. You've rewritten it. Because the real destiny isn't handed down from the stars. It's carved through courage. And you, more than anyone, have earned the right to live without fear of your own power. Now, the question becomes, what will you do with it? Will you continue to shrink to make others comfortable? Will you keep doubting your worth every time someone questions it? Or will you rise, not with force, but with knowing? Because Capricorn, the truth is this: you don't have to choose between love and legacy, between vulnerability and strength, between past and future. You only have to choose yourself, fully, unapologetically, sacredly. This journey was never about whether the love would return. It was about whether you would return to the truth of who you've always been. And now that you have, nothing can touch you, not because you're untouchable, but because you're unshakable. Final life lesson, TNG-KT. The fire didn't burn you to break you. It burned you to bless you. And now, your scars aren't symbols of loss. They are marks of evolution. Capricorn, you didn't just survive the storm. You became the calm inside of it. If you felt this truth rise inside you, if you're done shrinking to fit the stories others told about you, then subscribe to Zodiac Secrets Revealed. Because this is just the beginning. What's yours by destiny can no longer be denied. You're not waiting anymore. You are walking forward with fire in your chest and clarity in your soul.